Hi everyone, and welcome to Paranormal Path Peeps with David Young. How are you doing?
Hello, Jacqueline. Nice to be on your show, and thank you for inviting me.
Oh, welcome. It's so long since I actually spoke to you.
Yeah, well, it's not that long, really, but it seems a long time ago. Was it?
It
Was it about
does.
May? Was it May or something? Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was May time. It's the first time we actually met. It's at the East Anglia Paranormal Investigators Parafest, it was called. And what a great day that was.
Yeah, at the farm in Skegness, if I remember rightly.
Yes.
It's quite an amazing location. That was. There was quite interesting things going on. I thought some of it was a little. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, but I thought some of it gets a bit slow as well. People want to sort of hang about and chat and stuff, when I just want to be there and doing stuff.
Doing stuff. Yeah. I think that's what happens. You do get to know people, and it's like a family.
Yeah.
And I'm bad for it, I tell you. Like you see these people on Facebook, then you meet up with them. It's like, oh no, I'm chatting too much.
Yeah.
But it's a brilliant day.
Well, that's what I can't understand. People have paid their money to go on a ghost hunting event, and they're all standing there chatting, having cups of tea.
Yeah, and like we went out to the fish and chips restaurant, didn't we?
Oh, that was nice. Yeah,
that was lovely, wasn't it?
That was lovely. Yeah, because I think we had a meal together, didn't we? I think with a couple of other people.
We did. Yeah, we went up to Skegness, which is
a very nice fish and chip shop, which I think was suggested by Gary. I think that was one of his favourite fish and chip shops, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. It was just a lovely, wonderful day, and the weather was brilliant again.
It was. We were very lucky
there. The time before, and the weather was just, and it makes it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I hadn't been there before, but some of the things that were going on there, I thought were quite interesting. I mean, when they were doing like when you put the earphones on, and someone's talking, I don't know what you actually call it, and someone's asking questions. Someone's asking the questions, and you're seeing what you're coming out on the earphones, and it was actually some really interesting results.
That is actually one of my favourites, because when people can't hear.
Has he got a name? Has he got a name?
Estes method, yeah.
Right, okay.
So, it's absolutely wonderful.
It shows you what an expert I am.
Well, yeah, but there are different methods and techniques, aren't there?
Well, that was the first. See, that was the first time I'd seen that. So I found it very. I mean, and I found it since then. I've seen it at the Festival of the Unexplained as well. They did that.
Right, yeah.
With Danny Moss. I don't know if you've seen a couple of his shows. He's got the haunted hotel thing.
Yeah, I've not really seen much of this, to be fair. I've watched one or two, but yeah.
Yeah, but he was doing that as well, and it was really, really interesting.
Yeah, I too tend to do that, because the thing is about paranormal, it's all very well something interacting. And I've got 2 devices behind me, an EDI and a very cheap version of a K2.
Right. And I wonder what they were flashing behind you.
Flashing, is it? But things can happen. And most you can ever get with something like that is a yes or no answer. So somehow you've got to tune into it, haven't you?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, all it's going to tell you is there's something there.
Yeah.
Or it's an electrical charge in the air.
Exactly. You 100% don't know what the devices are doing. And then at the same time, you're assuming something is doing it, and if it does it for yes or no on demand, and it's all about probability, isn't it? And kind of building up to work out.
I think that sort of thing is interesting if you're in somewhere like woods or somewhere where there's no interference at all from anywhere, and obviously no one's got phones on and things like that, because you can pick up mobile phones and stuff as well.
Yeah, walkie-talkies.
Yeah, and stuff like that. I mean, a friend of mine and I, we both had those K2 meters. He had one and I had one, and his was going red and mine was going one way and his was going the other. Then mine would go red and his would go the other. So that was quite an interesting thing. Where we go, sort of talking to each other basically. And he had also in a torch. We had the same thing with torches as well. His torch went on and mine went off, and then mine would go on and his would go off.
I love it
really
because
strange.
You do get some really strange things happening, and no one event or one investigation is the same, is it?
No, that's right.
It's just amazing what you can actually get. But yeah, I do love it. So Where did this start with you then? How did you get your first interest in this?
How did I get into it? Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you an incident that I never knew about until later. Because I mean, when I was, I don't know if I mentioned this to you before, but when I was very, very young, I remember standing in my cot, with the cot at the side of it, and I didn't know what ghosts or anything were at the time, and I remember screaming because this thing came in and it scared the life out of me. It was like a purple mist came into the room. Wow. It actually came in the door, swirled around, and came right up to me, swirling around, and I'm screaming at this thing. It scared the life out of me. And I remember my father coming in to say, "What was the matter?" sort of thing. And I'm saying in baby language, I don't know if I was actually using words or whatever, like, "Can't you see it? Can't you see it?" That type of thing.
Oh my gosh.
And because I'm still looking at it while he's in the room, But anyway, it sort of swirled around and then swirled back out the room again. So that was kind of my first experience, if you like. I mean, obviously, as I said, I didn't know what ghosts were, but that kind of stayed with me. And I did mention it to my father a few times, but later, when I was a teenager and etc., and he still remembered that. So that's how it sort of stayed in. It wasn't kind of a dream sort of thing, because he actually remembers me saying it to him, and I was actually seeing it live there.
So that's basically probably one of your first ever memories, anyway.
Well, it is one. It is one of the earliest. It is one of the earliest memories I've got, apart from being stung by bees and things.
Wow.
But it's something that did actually stay with me. I guess what really kind of got me into the paranormal later on was when I was about 15, 16. I think I was probably about 16. And the book Chariots of the Gods came out with Eric von Daniken wrote it.
Right.
And they started writing it in bits and pieces. I think it was the Sunday Mirror or something. It was in every week there was a bit of it. And I ended up buying the book, and I was actually really hooked on what he was telling us about. I'm going to put something. Eric von Daniken never said that these were actually aliens from outer space. What he said was Chariots of the Gods with a question mark on the end of it. So he's actually putting the questions out there as what were these beings? I know later on it kind of it turned into that they were probably aliens or whatever that helped build the pyramids or did build the pyramids or helped build them or whatever, and all these other ancient buildings all over the world. But anyway, that's kind of where I first got interested in that. And I started buying all the UFO books and things that I could get. I went back then, they were like I've still got quite a lot on my shelf here, actually. A lot of the old pulp American ones, the late 60s and all that. Yeah, I mean, I had loads of them. I sort of tried to read as many as I could at the time. And of course, I was interested in ghosts as well, because although I didn't really know too much about them, I used to start collecting newspaper cuttings and putting them into a scrapbook.
How brilliant!
Of all sorts of paranormal stuff. And I was collecting them over the years. And you know what? Now I don't know what happened to those scrapbooks. I don't know what became of them at all.
Oh wow!
Because I got married very young, and I probably lost them.
Through moving.
I'm on my third and final wife now, so it's it got lost in the early days, that scrapbook.
Oh gosh!
But it's something I always wonder what I did. Whatever I probably threw it out or something, or maybe my mother did. I don't know. But anyway, it went, and I sort of always regretted that. So yeah.
You do lose things in time, though, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things you think, whatever happened to that? It's one of those things.
Imagine what information's on them of hauntings.
Yeah, there's all sorts of things. I mean, I'd really like to be able to flip through it now occasionally and sort of look to see what sort of stuff I was collecting. But there's all sorts of stuff, like the Loch Ness Monster or UFOs or ghosts or anything like that. Even down to some of the Jack the Ripper stories, because some of those sort of delve into like the paranormal genre, don't they?
Yeah, now that was interesting, and I did speak to a person who has worked out who Jack the Ripper was, which is fascinating.
Another one.
It's a great story. He had a show, And he had it genetically tested. I've spoken to him as well, Russell.
Oh, the shawl. Yeah, I know about the shawl. I've got the book actually. Now, I'll tell you,
absolutely brilliant.
I'm going to mention something now. Apparently, that shawl is because I've spoken to somebody else who Mike Coble is quite an expert on the Jack
he's
Ripper.
from Hull.
Well, he said that's a load of bull anyway about the shawl and the DNA on the shawl. So,
right, yeah.
I mean, we've got the other story about the American as well, haven't we? That came over, which was on Discovery. I think it was Discovery Channel or History Channel. Yeah, there was an American, Holmes, his name was, but he had various names, and he was coming over to the UK, and he thinks he was Jack the Ripper because a lot of the Ripper's murders stopped when he went back to America. So I actually had him on my show a couple of years ago, to be honest.
Oh my gosh!
After he was on the Discovery Channel. Yeah. So.
Gosh.
Yeah, Jeff Mudgett, his name was.
But that was an interesting conversation.
But it's his ancestor who he thinks may well have been the Ripper.
Wow, that's yeah. So did he have any theories then?
Well, he thinks that what is his H.H. Holmes? I think his name was. That was what his name was. But he was actually a serial killer, well-known serial killer in Chicago, back in America, and this is why he thinks that it was actually the Jack the Ripper that came over here as well, under different aliases.
Oh gosh, so right, yeah, because he's got the background then, hasn't he?
Yeah, there was the Chicago. It was a big Chicago hotel, and they called it the Horror Hotel or something, but it was all used to get people in this hotel, murder them, and all sorts of things, all sorts of horrific things.
Similar MO and everything, was it?
Yeah. Well, they're actually talking. He's talking about. They're actually talking about making a movie of that particular person. So whether they'll put the Jack the Ripper bit of it into the film as well, I don't know. But there's people like who was it? I think it was it's quite a big name. He was interested. Sorry, whenever you're doing something like this, I always forget.
Yeah, I know. My name's it's Russell. What was this? Russell Edwards. I couldn't remember it.
The names are always at the top of your head, and they just disappear.
Oh, yeah, it's like you just speak like boom, gone. But yeah, the whole story is fascinating, and it's like the paranormal, like everything, like we experience personally. Amazing stories.
Yeah,
I phoned somebody up yesterday because there's a pub local to me, and somebody mentioned it's haunted. So I phoned them up and said, I might be interested in coming round. And he went on to explain some things happening. He says, I might seem crazy, but I says, well, actually, I do this every weekend. I accept what you're saying is true. This is what you've experienced. And it's just fascinating, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, you've got to take people that... You can't just think everyone's nuts, basically. You've got to take people as you find them at first. If you find out they're nuts later, then it's good, Well,
that's fair. Yeah, fair enough. But like the stories I can come out with are so bizarre. But I could speak to somebody who does paranormal and I go, oh, by the way, this. But then I could speak to somebody who doesn't do it and says, just go with this. It sounds stupid, but just go with it, and it's just mad, isn't it? But I love it.
No, I agree with you. Like I say, I mean, I try to, as I say, take people at first value, and think, and I tend to believe. Maybe I don't know. I do tend to believe people anyway. Then you find out to your cost that they're telling you lies or porcupines and whatever you want to call it later on. But I do tend to believe people most of the time when they tell you something, because most people don't really want to come forward with the stories that they come forward with most of the time. It's something that they're only speaking to you about because it's something that's troubled them over the years,
That's it.
It's like me. I mean, I don't go around telling everyone that I saw this mist as a baby. It's only on things like this when you're talking to people that are interested in it,
Yeah, where like most people, like on Paranormal Path, that they do have an interest, and a lot do go out investigating frequently. Like Jeanette goes out. I bumped into Jeanette. Annette, I know she goes out. She was at Stoke this weekend. David Alcors, thanks for joining us from Florida. But it is such fascinating. And isn't it great to meet like-minded people as well?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Always is. We did mention the Parafest, and you get I went to the Parameet, helped out there. But when you meet people that you met on Facebook, then you meet them in person, they don't seem any different to the people that you've been speaking to. Well, do they?
No, you do actually. You feel as if you've been friends anyway, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like when I met you, and I know you now. We're friends, basically.
Yeah.
You know, if I saw you somewhere else, then we're mates now. So
that's it.
it's just the way it is.
You know, oh, hello. Yeah. But
Yeah.
you know, I've had fish and chips, so good now, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, this is why these things like Zoom and what we're using here, StreamYard, it's great for you. I mean, you're home and you're in mine, and it's kind of you don't need to actually visit in person, do you, nowadays?
No, that's it. A quick shout out to 727 Paranormal Live. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, hello to everybody. Nice to join you.
Andy Tom, Irina Kiko, Nigel Porter, Annette Locke. And thank you, everyone. I think I've mentioned everyone, but thanks so much for watching. If you've got any questions for David, then please add them to the chat. Now, the speak you did at the Parafest was actually about UFOs in the UK. So
it was mainly about the Rendlesham Forest incident. Really,
fantastic, awesome speech. It was brilliant. I don't know anything other than it being a location. You know, and obviously it's got history. I didn't know that much about it. So it's great when you sort of added more information and yeah.
I mean, really I can do a quick rendition of it if you like.
Please.
I mean, you could actually do sort of like hours on it, but
definitely.
In 1980, in Christmas, there's joint air bases of Woodbridge and Bentwaters in Suffolk, right? And in December of 1980, Christmas time, it was the morning of Boxing Day. Somebody on guard duty was actually saw a light coming down into the woods, which is next to Rendlesham Forest. Basically, that's where the bases are situated. Yeah. And basically, He called it in, so he saw these strange lights coming down, and basically it was called in as they probably thought it was an aircraft in trouble. It landed sort of in the woods area. Three guys went out to investigate. You know, it's a longer story than that.
Yeah,
with all the to and fro and everything like that, and getting permission and everything else. And the guys' names were John. It was John Burrows first of all that saw the light that come down into the forest. He was with another new guy who was on the base. I think his name was Cabansack. His name was Ed Cabansack. And he called in to Jim Penniston, who was actually in charge. He was the staff sergeant at the time. He was on charge of the night duty, and he was actually in security. Or was it the other way around? Anyway, but anyway, he was the head honcho, if you like. But anyway, these three went into the woods to investigate what these strange lights were. They were having all sorts of communication problems going back, into the base with the walkie-talkies and stuff that they had.
Yeah.
They left Ed Cabansack a little bit in the woods away from, so there'd be like a patch period, so they could actually talk to him and he could sort of relay it to the base. So he was a relay person. So John Burrows and Jim Penniston went further on into the woods, and they apparently came across this craft that they saw in the woods.
Wow.
And it was like a the size of a car, I guess, a large car, and it was black, and it was shaped like a I don't know, like a lozenge shaped type of craft. Now, Jim says that he went up to the craft and he was taking notes about it, and he actually touched the craft, and there was some insignia on the side of it.
Wow.
And he got a strange feeling when he touched these insignia. Now, John Burrows apparently passed out. And there's some other stories that have gone around over the years that he actually jumped on the craft and all that, but that's all sort of rubbish, really. That's kind of that happened. But John apparently passed out. But they did have some missing time when they eventually went back to the guard gate, which is Eastgate, basically, which they called it, which is where they left from. So that was that. I mean, next day Jim started having these binary downloads, and he was actually writing them in his book. and he wrote 16 pages of binary. You know what binary is?
Yeah.
Yeah,
0, 1.
Yeah, ones and zeros. He had 16 pages he was writing down in his notebook.
God.
And he kept that all to himself for many years, because he thought he was going crazy, basically. He went back out to the woods the next day. He had a friend who was a decorator, and he had some plaster of Paris, which he took off of him. And he actually went back into the woods and he made plaster casts of these indentations of where this craft came down.
Wow.
Now, he says that they weren't actually solid legs. They were like a beam of, so if you imagine a beam, but it still made an indentation. In actual fact, there's a fantastic book that Jim wrote with Gary Osborne about it, and it's called The Rendlesham Enigma. And it's about 700 pages. It's a massive book, and it actually tells you, if anyone's interested out there, it tells you minute by minute and second by second who was involved, who was where, and on the events.
Fascinating.
Yeah, because it wasn't. Now, what happened 2 nights later? There was another incident we don't hear too much about, so I won't mention it here. But there was another major incident 2 nights later, which involved Colonel Holt, who's another good friend of mine.
Right.
Obviously, they live in America. They don't live over here.
Yeah.
But what happened was lights were seen again coming into the woods and in the sky and everything. And there was a Christmas party going on, because I mentioned to you it was Christmas party. I think it was an award thing going on. And someone came into and interrupted the party and said, it's back. And of course, Colonel Holt said that what's back? And he said the UFO. And he said, oh, no, because he didn't believe, he just thought it was all rubbish, as you would. He said, right, let's settle this. And he got together a small team and they went out into the woods. Obviously, it's a longer story than that, because they get a team together and saying who was there and everything like that. But they went out into the woods, basically. They went out and they were following these lights in the sky, which were flying about. And apparently they were shooting beams down at into the woods and all sorts of things. The base itself was actually an atomic, atomic weapons base.
Oh, okay. So that goes with a lot of other stories, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah. I mean, it wasn't known at the time, because it was, in actual fact, they kind of had. It's not official still now that they had atomic weapons there.
No.
Which obviously they would have broken British protocol, because they were not supposed to have had British atomic weapons there. I suppose they just let them get away with it. But anyway, do you remember the days of the Greenham Common?
Oh my God!
When all the women were outside of Greenham Common complaining about the atomic weapons on the base.
Yeah.
Well, the fact of the matter was they weren't there. They were at Bentwaters, Woodbridge.
Yeah.
So they were probably laughing. So
it happened around here as well.
Did it?
Yeah, we had a base around here. Not a big one, but we got people around it.
Yeah. I mean, let me just reach for this book, because it's an important book to show you, if I can reach it. If I can reach it without knocking everything over.
The thing is, these are reputable people.
That's the book. If anyone's interested in a real good story about the Rendlesham, look at how thick it is.
Wow. I need to get
That's
that
the
book.
one, Rendlesham Enigma.
That looks brilliant. Yeah, I think I do want that book, because I don't know a lot about ufology.
But that's got everything in it about the Rendlesham, like who was where and who was involved, and every minute of it covers it minute by minute, and it's really.
And they used to write in accounts anyway, being, in the military, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
That's that's what they did. So.
Well, what kind of happened? The story was never meant to get out. Colonel Holt, after his experience which was the couple of nights later, he had to write a report out for it. Really, for the Brit, because it was on British soil. Remember?
Yes.
Although the American bases were on British soil. The event happened outside the base, because they actually left the base to go into the woods. So you were actually on UK soil. So what Colonel Holt had to do, he had to write a report about it, and they called it the Holt Memorandum about it. And it was never meant to go out. It went to our government and everything. And but anyway, what happened many years later, I think it was in the 80s, some UFO researchers got involved, and they tried to get hold of any information, like freedom of information requests and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And this is where this report came out about, and there was a big News of the World article, UFO lands in Suffolk, and it's and it's official sort of thing. And this is when and this is where the Holt memorandum got released, and of course all hell broke loose, and
of course it
over
did.
it. And
those days it wasn't, people. I think people would be more wary in those days than now. Like now we're more accepting, aren't we, that there might be something else around. But in those days it was like it scared the hell out of a lot of people. Yeah.
Well, how I kind of got involved in all that, there was a guy who wrote a book called Left at Eastgate with another guy named Peter Robbins, both Americans, right?
Yeah.
Now, Larry Warren was actually on the base. He'd only just been in the services a short time. He'd been sent over from America. He was just he was still in his training, actually. So overall, he was only in the Air Force for less than 10 months. But all of a sudden, he says he was involved in this Rendlesham Forest experience, if you like, on the third night that he was out with Colonel Holt. Now, Colonel Holt always said that Larry Warren was not out there, right? And this is kind of where it all got, because after he wrote the book, he kind of stole another person's story, which is Adrian Bustinza, who was out there with Colonel Holt, not all together, basically. They were in different little teams, but at one point in the book, he's talking about there's 200 people out there. There was nowhere near that sort of figure. It was more like about a dozen that were in little small teams, and that things landed in the Cable Green and everything. Nothing landed on that green. Everything, there were lights in the sky. The only landing, well, in my estimation, the only landing that I know about is the one that Jim Penniston and John Barrow saw on the first night. On that third night, as I understand it, nothing landed.
Right.
Unless I've got the story completely wrong. But Larry Warren made up a story about aliens coming out of this craft at Cable Green and everything. And in actual fact, there's a film coming out, a documentary, which has been in the making for almost 6 years, well, probably over 5 years now.
Wow.
Every time they've released a trailer for it, we'll jump all over it, saying that there's not just me, there's a few of us that know about what's been going on.
Yeah.
And we jump all over the trailer, say, well, that's a load of bull. And they sort of had to I think they've had about 7 trailers now. And then they have to start changing
it's
it all.
like Wayne and Mark and like Mandy, they know the stuff as well, don't they? So
but apparently we're all supposed to be frightened of this film coming out. Well, no, we all want to see it. I want to see what's in the film.
Yeah.
I'll never buy it, but obviously I'll be able to see a copy of it somehow. But I would never sort of purchase it because I wouldn't purchase and sort of support lies, But I do want to know what's in it.
Yeah, just to see if there's any little bit of truth in it anywhere, or if it's just total like drama.
Well, there's another researcher named Gary Heseltine's bought a book out recently called Non-Human. And that's basically all supporting the Larry Warren bullshit. So excuse my language, but which he's done for many years. And as I understand it, Gary's trying to stretch those 3 nights into about 4 or 5 now. So to fit his agenda for the dates and everything that Larry Warren's always come out with. But Larry Warren came out with the dates that Colonel Holt put out incorrectly in the first place, and this is where the story all went funny, because on the Holt memorandum, Colonel Holt gets the date wrong.
I remember you saying that. Yeah.
So it's one of those things where, and also there were 2 other ladies at the time. They were researchers, Dot Street and Brenda Butler, and they got involved with what's her name? Sorry. Jenny Randalls, and they all wrote a book together called Sky Crash.
Okay.
And now they were being fed duff information from the base when they started investigating it, because they were actually the first investigators at the time.
Right.
Because they started hearing these stories, which was shortly after the event itself.
Mm-hmm.
They were being given duff information. Now, if you sort of look at the Larry Warren yarn, and the information they were getting, it kind of matches up. But they were, a lot of the dates and events and things kind of match. Because they use a fake name in the book for the person that was giving them the information. We actually know what that person's name is now, but at the time we didn't. But it's a long. In actual fact, I would say that the Rendlesham Forest UFO incident is probably the most mixed up, crazy bunch of information that you've got to really sort of. You've got to plough through it to find out what the truth is and what really isn't the truth is. You know, I've got a lot of great respect for Jim Penniston. He's become a good friend. Although I've never met him, we're actually good friends because we speak a lot online and everything, like we're doing here.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, he's great. And Colonel Holt is actually a personal friend. He's actually stayed in my home and everything as well.
Oh my gosh, that's wonderful, isn't it?
When he's come over and visited, I actually sort of arranged a conference for him a couple of years ago as well.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Before the world went mad with all the rest of the,
It's lovely how you sort of get to meet people, though, isn't it?
It's fantastic, yeah. I mean, and the Colonel Holt has always said to me, when I asked him personally off the record and stuff, when he was obviously talking to me in my living room and everything, I was saying, do you know what actually happened, Chuck? Chuck, his name was. What actually happened? Do you actually know? And he says, we don't know what it was. We were seeing these lights, and I can never say to you what it was. You know, because you do hear some of these newspaper reports saying, "Oh, Colonel Holt said it was a mothership and everything, and there was aliens and everything all involved in it." But he's never said that. He does. Yeah. He has said things like other people have said there was a mothership and there was aliens reported. And he was talking about the Larry Warren bullshit.
Oh right, yeah.
But. You know, so that's kind of what he was talking about there. But he said to me, they don't know what it was. All they know is there was lights, and they can't explain them.
Yeah.
You know, so.
But for them to initially come out with that as well, and the information to get out, obviously more restricted at the time, but obviously more. It's now out.
Yeah, I would say that book I held up that I showed you is probably the best book on the subject. Because it is so detailed. You know, if you want a minute by minute of where everyone was at certain times, and I'm
going to look it up. To be fair,
and what everyone said, and all the different things that people have said over the years, they've said different things at different times, and it puts all those things together, so you can sort out the wheat from the chaff for yourself.
Awesome, it's brilliant. So Wayne says here, Mark, he saw Mothership last year. Mark took a photo. Wayne also had an occurrence where he saw something in the sky, and then down the road there's something else in the sky, wasn't there? So sort of went in that direction. So
hello Wayne, nice to see you.
if you do look, I've got a friend who, oh my gosh, Saturday, I need to join him. So they go out and sit in a old pit area, and they sort of look up and watch and try and see if.
Yeah, Wayne's just said he started reading the Rendlesham Enigma. It's a good book, isn't it, Wayne?
Awesome. It stops him from writing his book, though. Yeah. But, it sounds a brilliant book. And, if people do want to know about something, the truth of something, then that's it, isn't it? You've got to go to the source rather than made-for-TV films or something. Which can be...
I suppose I ought to mention, we talked about UFOs and things. The next thing that happened to me, I was about 8 or 9 years old. I was living in London at the time because I was born in London. You might not be able to tell, but I was born in London. And we moved to Essex when I was about 15 or 16, I think it was something. Yeah. But anyway, we lived in London. I was about 8 or 9. And one evening, I was sitting on my steps. And I was actually watching a star move and stop and move and stop in the sky. It was coming down. Wow. It was coming downwards and stopping and moving and stopping. At the time, as a kid, I just thought, it's a star moving and stopping. I never thought anything more of it. It was only later on when I was sort of in my teens, I thought, well, what was I watching there? What the hell was that? I know now it wasn't a star because stars don't do that.
It doesn't watch it. No, it doesn't do that.
And I'm talking about the late 50s. There weren't any satellites and things flying about up there.
Yeah, I thought the ISS, but of course not.
Satellites don't do that anyway. They don't stop.
No, they don't. They just go by and that's that.
But you didn't have them then. The earliest ones obviously were Sputnik and Telstar and things like that. The early ones. And I don't think even those were up then. So what I was watching, I don't know.
Yeah, that's awesome. And, you can't take your experiences away from you, but you still remember that happening.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it happened, you saw it and go, oh, yeah, whatever. And then but years later, it's like, oh, yeah, I remember seeing this. Like my mum-in-law saw this cloud in Cleethorpes, and they get a lot of things happening over the Cleethorpes side, but then you've got the base nearby anyway, Donnanuck, where they've got like the bombing area. So they've got, the military planes always practicing around there. But she will see these weird clouds. Like a cloud went one way, then it went another way, and it kept doing that. Have
yeah.
you heard of something like that happening before?
Mm.
Is that's freaky?
It is. I mean, the best one I saw, in actual fact, when we moved to Basildon in Essex, I actually was coming home from my girlfriend's at the time. It was about 1966. Yeah, that's how old I am. I was coming home from, and I was watching a big orange object going across the sky. It was pulsating across the sky, big orange, and it was all different shades. It was all different shades of orange. It weren't just like a. It was very difficult to describe. It was like an incandescent orange thing going across the sky. And as I say, I remember it as being all different shades of orange. It wasn't like a bright light. It was like just like an incandescent light, I suppose you can describe it. And as I say, it was an oval shape to me, but it could well have been a round object on its side, if you see what I mean.
You don't know, yeah.
But as I say, I observed it as an orange object, and it was completely silent. It was, because I'm sort of 1 o'clock in the morning, and it was very quiet where I was walking. There wasn't a sound at all. So I can, it might sound silly, but I had this amazing feeling come over me when I saw this orange thing. I don't know if it was some sort of I don't know if it was something coming from that was telling me something. I don't know. Well, I had this amazing feeling of peace and.
Oh wow!
And a realization that they are real, that they are really real.
Cool.
These things, and of course, that actually happened after I'd been reading about all these UFOs and things. Maybe it was a message. I don't know.
Well, it's like mediumship, isn't it? That's what people do. They connect and they get.
Yeah.
So whether it's some telekinesis, is that whatever the word is? But yeah.
No, I mean the thing is, I have spoken to quite a few people over the years about this. These things do appear to people, certain people, and only they can see it. So whether other people, because I'm not saying that I'm anything special or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, but I mean I don't know if you know the Philip and Ronnie Kinsella. They had an amazing experience where they saw a big UFO over their house where they live in Bedfordshire, and they were both seeing it, but whether everyone else was seeing it or not, I mean, I think there could be like a corridor where they're actually seeing this thing. So only if you're in this corridor you will see it, and if you're outside that corridor you won't see it.
Wow.
That's kind of, I think, is a possibility.
Yeah. It's just so fascinating. I did see something. I was driving down a road 70 miles an hour. It's right in front of me. Now, okay, I live near an airport. I see planes all the time. This was not what I'm used to seeing. I've seen the military planes. But it just seemed to be two craft above each other, going the same speed and not actually moving apart or anything. They were separate. They weren't joined. So I nearly crashed the car, but that must have been like the 80s,
Yeah.
And you didn't have anyone to talk to. You didn't have anyone to ask about it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because when my wife and I, we lived in Suffolk, not too far from Menisham.
They each had 3 lights on it. 3 lights.
Right, I know, yeah.
3 lights and 3 lights, yeah.
But one night when we moved to that new place we were in, and we got 2 young puppies, so we had to walk them out in the evening, late at night, before bedtime type of thing, for their last wheeze and whatever. And we're walking around because we had quite a bit of area in our place, which was fenced off type of thing. But my wife actually noticed them first. There was 2 pods things flying across the sky. Wow. And she said, "What are they?" And they were like grey pods. No, they weren't lit up or anything, and I couldn't see them at first. And she said, and they were flying along side by side along this.
That was like what I saw, but it's one above the other, and they didn't part. They didn't.
Yeah.
And I was kind of catching up a little bit with them, but they weren't changing much,
No. These weren't lit up at all. They weren't airplanes or anything like, because you'd normally have airplanes lights or something. But they were two grey pods flying along. Yeah, that was pretty weird.
Daytime?
No, that was late at night. That was probably about half 11 or something.
Oh wow, yeah.
Because where we lived, it was very dark, so you had a nice clear sky.
You could see it better. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I do have a lot of lights around me anyway, but this was something unusual, and I've remembered it from the 80s. I don't know what it was to this day. It's not something that I've seen since. And you kind of do remember vaguely the description and everything. So Andy's got an interesting one. His sightings were seen by 6 of us, like an aeroplane with no sound, flew over the castle, stopped dead, moved off in many directions at a vast speed, then returned to a starting point.
It went in many directions. Does it mean the one craft went off in many directions?
Yeah, did the one craft go in different directions then? Oh yeah, there's about a minute delay. So
because sometimes you get you hear about these craft and these little things that are little balls that come out of them, and they seem to go off in different directions. They seem to be like little scout craft or something like that. I mean, it's only an assumption. I don't know, but
interesting. Yeah, but for 6 people, and like Wayne saw something at Church Farm as well. The Parafest before you were there. So, it's dark, and if you saw something there above, and, there are things out there. And if, people do look up, then, you might see something unusual.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest question is, where are they coming from? I've got an opinion. Obviously, it just says one craft made like a Union Jack movement. Oh, I see. So it was kind of making a zigzag in the air kind of thing. Yeah. Wow. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I'm of the opinion that a lot of what we're seeing is not actually extraterrestrial, and that means from outer space, but actually interdimensional.
Yeah.
And Jim Penniston, who saw the craft in Rendlesham Woods, I think he's of that same opinion, that maybe it's even us from the future.
Yeah. That is what we don't know as well about paranormal, do we?
Sorry, I'm just going to mute my microphone a second.
Oh, bless you.
I'll just have a coughing.
Fine. The thing is,
excuse me, sorry about that.
It's all right. So, like paranormal, we don't know if like things are existing at the same time as us. Also, like say you get a medium who gives you a reading from the future, and you're getting it from your mum. So, does your mum go to the future and then come back and give the message?
Well, yeah, it's an interesting aspect.
We just don't know, do we?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go back to where we moved in Suffolk. We actually lived in a place, and we were surrounded by fields and trees and stuff. Now, before we actually moved to that place, we went to a medium somewhere in, I think it's Norwich. I think there was like a town centre there. You could walk along the seafront or whatever. I think was it a seafront? Oh, no. Anyway, we went into this medium place, and my wife wanted to get a reading about. Well, she wasn't my wife at the time, but she wanted to get a reading about what was going to happen to us and where we'd been and all sorts of things. And the funny thing was, he told us we were going to be living in a place surrounded by fields, and we were going to have two little ones running around. And we thought, well, we can't be talking about children. And funny thing was, we got 2 puppies.
Oh.
And of course, when you think about 2 little ones running around, they were always tearing about, around the grounds. And we were. I mean, most people, when they're going to find a place to live, they're living in a street or a flat or whatever, aren't they?
No.
Yeah, and to tell someone you're actually going to be living in a place surrounded by fields.
Oh, I'd be so happy if I got that in a reading.
It was nice. It was nice, I must say. But as I say, the work. They needed a lot of work when we moved out of it, and we wanted something nearer to who. Yeah, it's quite a long story, but she wanted to get nearer to her grandchildren and stuff. So we moved at the right time. A lot of people have said, "Oh, how could you have moved away from that place?" So we said,
"No, there's reasons."
Believe me, the time was right. I knew a lot of jobs that needed doing. I had a lot of trees to cut down and things. God, rather than get someone in to do it, or right away along the road, I had to keep all the hedge trimmed and all that. And it was really hard work.
Yeah,
Sort of,
definitely.
when you're sort of getting on a bit, like, oh, we don't want to do this.
No, that's the thing. Like, I've just toured Scotland for 2 weeks, and like, I couldn't find any food shops.
Oh,
Now,
yeah, tell me about it. Yeah,
if you're so far away from everywhere,
yeah,
well, you've got to be really organised, haven't you?
yeah.
If you get a power cut or something, you just got to be ready for it.
Yeah,
You know,
that's what my wife and I suffer from. Whenever we go anywhere to an event or something like that, we want to go out for a meal. Do you think we can ever find anywhere that's get somewhere decent?
It's
You know, we
shocking.
end up in a burger bar or something somewhere, even when
McDonald's, yeah.
we've been to America. You know, sometimes we've been in some like a motel or a hotel somewhere. You want to go out and get something to eat, and it's everyone's shut and it's a nightmare.
Yeah, I lost weight in Scotland because like, I just couldn't find where to eat, and I didn't fancy the cans I'd taken with me. So you buy these like you put a can in a pan. It's got like chicken and white wine sauce or chili,
Yeah,
and it's okay-ish, but you know you do want proper food, don't you? Oh,
yeah,
met Tony.
exactly.
Hi, Tony. Met Tony in Scotland as well. That was a weird coincidence.
Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, brilliant. We investigated a cave together and got some brilliant footage, didn't you? Tony's got a brilliant camera and we picked up quite a lot. And Tony's good on hearing voices.
Is he?
So, and also the voice, I think his energy picks up voices as well.
Right, that's interesting.
So I'd hear a sound, which was a voice, but Tony could hear what was being said. And then the camera actually picked it up as well. So, fantastic. So,
wow.
give Tony Ferguson's page a watch because it's just amazing the evidence he gets.
Tony Ferguson, I should have to have a look. I don't know if we're friends, are we, Tony? I don't know already. But
yeah, but oh wow, it's just fantastic evidence.
If we're not Tony, can you send me a friend request?
Bless you. But yeah, but you know, we just love sort of traveling and trying to see what you can get, really.
Mm.
And what's your best? Have you had any other UFO encounters then?
Not really UFO encounters. I mean, I told you we lived near. Yeah, he just said yes. All right, Tony, thank you. But yeah, when we lived in Suffolk, as I said, we were about 20 minutes from Rendlesham Forest. Now, I got to know Brenda Butler quite well. We used to go out into the woods together at night, not just for her and me. Don't get silly old silly. But there was a lot of little teams of us used to go out in the woods, and because she was quite psychic and everything, and she was being an investigator. And we used to get some really amazing photographs of. I mean, Brenda would say. I mean, Brenda was amazing. She could actually say there's some activity over there in that direction, and you'd actually point your photo, take your photo, and take about 7 or 8 photos in that area.
Yeah.
And when you look back, you couldn't see anything obviously going on. But when you look back at the photos, most of them they'd all come out like dark black. And all of a sudden, you'd have loads of orbs. Loads of orbs, and then black again. Now, I mean, I know a lot of people say you got a lot of dust particles and liquid particles in the air, but to my way of thinking, if you're shooting a load of pictures straight one after the other, they should all have those dust and liquid particles in the air.
Yeah, that's right.
And also, when you look at the actual orbs on the photos, you can see the same orb have moved, and they're actually different colours and different sizes, and you can see other shapes within the orbs, which is all quite fascinating.
It is fascinating. It is, because I got a photo and everyone will go, oh, yeah, moisture. But the thing is, we asked Spirit, will you come into the next photo? And then there's an orb in it. Well, what can you say?
Well, he's exactly right. I mean, I'll be taking pictures when Brenda hasn't said, there's some activity over there. Most of them just come out black.
Yeah.
You don't get orbs and things. Most of the photos, you could take 100 photos in the woods, walking around in the dark, and you can bet that 90 of them, or 85 of them, would be just black.
That's right.
Now, if it was dust and moisture in the air, you'd be getting all those all the time.
Yeah.
So
you see, the cameras have got a lot better now, haven't they?
Yeah.
Like you early digital, my God, everything had an orb in it, didn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It really did. Now,
Well, I mean, Brenda's had some amazing things over the years. You can't see these misty shapes, but she'll take photos, and you've got all these weird misty shapes in them. It's quite frightening, some of them, because she's experienced all sorts of it sounds silly, but like little monks and things that they've seen. They've seen aliens, greys, and all sorts of things.
Does she see them psychically, or does she see them?
No, well, apparently they're there, but she can see them psychically as well.
She sees them in the mind's eye, or does she see?
Yeah, she can sense them. Yeah,
that's brilliant. Yeah,
but they've had some really weird experiences up there. Unfortunately, she's not too well now. She had some strokes and that, so she can't do those sort of walks that she used to enjoy. But we had some amazing nights up there.
It's a place I do want to go to. I keep meaning to every year. I don't know. I think I'm getting a bit booked up for next year already, unless I go up there on holiday. So I don't know. Yeah, I might head that way on holiday for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, so what's your big out? I could always beat you up there or something. I've spoken to Wayne and a few other people actually. Give me a shout if you're going up there.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be a good one. Yeah, because if Wayne's near it as well, so
because Wayne lives in Colchester, doesn't he? So it's not too far from me. I mean, we met up.
Awesome.
Wayne just said I'll join you.
Yeah, nice one. All right, another trip sorted down south.
We met up again for a Colchester ghost tour trip, which we all went walking around Colchester.
Yeah, he said.
Which was really interesting, actually. I think even Wayne learned a bit, didn't he, Wayne? But I think apparently Wayne knew a lot about Colchester anyway. But I know he enjoyed that walk around as well.
That's brilliant.
I thought it was good.
Yeah, it's just fascinating, the history of like various places and that. And every town city's got its own stories, and fascinating. They really are. There were a few things.
Yeah, he said there were a few things he didn't know. Yeah, sorry, I'm taking over the show now. So.
It's all right. Yeah. So, have you had any paranormal encounters then, other than your first?
To be honest, on ghost hunts and things like that, I find. I mean, they're probably the most paranormal events that I've gone to. Yeah, where I've been on these ghost hunts, and I find a lot of ghost hunts get quite boring sometimes. But then all of a sudden something will happen, and you think, "Oh, it was worth coming now."
Yeah,
But that always seems to be when you're sort of thinking, "Oh, should we give up and go home?" And then something will happen and sort of just pique your interest. And I mean, things like table tipping and stuff like that, I hadn't experienced that. And I always thought maybe it could be faked.
Yeah.
But a couple of times when I've had I've experienced table tipping, they've been quite amazing. There was one event we went to. I think it was an old workhouse somewhere, and people had to take their hands on the table, and I'm thinking, someone's going to be pushing this.
Yeah.
But everyone was taking their hands off the table one at a time. Now, when it came for me to take my hands off, I was actually looking under the table, and I was pushing on it like that. And it felt like there was something actually under the table pushing it. It was like on a spring, and I thought, this is just unreal,
Random,
There was just no way that someone could be faking this, because it was just like it was like a force was under the table pushing it. So that kind of convinced me that there was something in it. Probably there are times when someone is pushing it, and the same as when you get Ouija boards and stuff like that,
Yeah. But you can get some great information.
As I say, talking about Ouija boards, I mean, I guess my earliest experience with a Ouija board, when a lot of teenagers, we used to do, you make up the little cards with all the letters around it, and you put them around, and you get a wine glass and all that. We used to do it quite a bit as teenagers. When I was probably about 16, 17, etc.
Oh, wow.
And there was one particular young fella who didn't believe what was going on. So it was my girlfriend's friend's boyfriend or something. And anyway, he didn't believe it. He said it was all that rubbish. Anyway, one particular evening, we said to him, well, I'll tell you what, you go and sit in a corner, get a piece of paper and write something on this piece of paper, and we'll sit here and we'll ask the glass, and we'll see if we can tell it. We'll find out what you've actually written on that piece of paper. And he said, right, okay. And he went and sat in the corner, and nobody could see what he'd written. He was sitting there, sort of writing. And then he said, right, okay, what was Vince, I think his name was. So what has Vince actually just written on this piece of paper? Anyway, it was messing about, like the glass sides about a bit, didn't it?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden it started spelling out G-U-N, and it spelled out gun.
Right, okay.
And we thought, well, that was that. We said to him, I said, have you just written gun down, Vince? And he went white as a sheet. Because what he did, he held up this piece of paper. He hadn't written the word gun. He'd actually drawn a picture of one. And he held it up.
Oh, my God. That's even better, isn't it?
So we all looked at each other, thinking, bloody hell. It was, as you do,
Yeah.
It was another piece of evidence that what was happening. I mean, again, I used to say that was something, you could actually say that maybe there was some sort of extrasensory perception going on. Perhaps there's a bit of mind reading going on somewhere. I don't know.
You've got that as well, haven't you? Yeah.
Yeah. You tend to think it was a ghost or something, or a paranormal being or something, or spirit telling you that. But was it really, or was it some sort of a psychic connection of some sort?
That's what I love. We really don't know the answers.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I said to you before we started the show. None of us, I don't think any of us are experts. We've all got our own opinions.
Don't even get me on that one, no.
No, I mean, I know there's some people that like to think of themselves as experts, and there are people that know a lot more about stuff than other people. But I think we're all on a different levels, aren't we? I mean, we're probably the bottom ones, and you've got people up here that know a little, but we're still not experts.
Yeah, that's right. You've got your own experiences, and then you try and work it out in your own head what happened, and you try and get answers, don't you? And it's just fascinating. And
I mean, I don't know how you feel, but I mean, to me, the closest person to an expert, and he just blows my mind every time. I'm a great follower of David Icke. Now,
I haven't seen much of him.
I would say probably 10 years ago, I didn't really. I was on the fence with David. I heard of things about he believes that everything else are reptilians and everything else like that, and
he's got
and it's all God. He says he's the son of God and all that.
Yeah.
Now all of that is a load of bull, because he's never acted like that at all. And a lot of things he said about reptilians and things has been taken completely out of context by the BBC and stuff like that. Because when you actually start listening to what he's actually saying, a lot of it actually makes an awful lot of sense. And I've started reading his books and things over the last 10 years or so.
GB News?
He's not on GB News. No. They won't have him on. He's been kicked off of all the mainstream media because he's coming out. They don't want him saying what he's saying.
Right. Okay. So that went a bit away from. That was more real, wasn't it, than some channels?
Yeah. Well, yeah. On some shows, the late shows, some of the things they come out with. But a lot of the things, they're still controlled, aren't they?
Everything is, isn't it?
But I mean, a lot of what David Icke says about the holographic universe, and it's not just him says it, there's quite a few other scientists now. I'm sort of starting to get my head around, and I'm starting to think there's could be a lot of truth in this.
Yeah.
Because it kind of makes sense. On his latest book called The Dream, I'm reading at the moment. And wow, it really takes a bit to get your head around. It really does. And what he's coming out with, I mean, where did he get this information from? It's not something that even he doesn't know. He actually says he doesn't know where he actually doesn't know how this information comes to him.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a strange thing. And when you actually read it, it's actually quite complicated. You could actually give up with it and think, oh, I can't get my head around this, so I'm just going to put it aside.
It's like years ago when bless you, Wayne, take care, see ya.
See you,
Wayne. Got your show in a bit. So Wayne's usually on the Dark Mirror show sometime after me, so I read a book about, it's back in the 80s. Somebody had a book on astral projection,
right? Yeah.
And I was trying to read it, astral travel, and it's like, oh my God, and it tells you the methods of how to. And it's mind blowing, when you sort of go into the detail of it and everything. And once you start reading some books, it's amazing.
Some of it's very difficult to get your head around of it. But,
that's right.
I mean, I mean, in the late 60s, I was hearing things about astral projection and astral traveling and stuff like that. And I knew someone told me that he does it, and I really got interested. I thought, well, and he was trying to tell me how to do it. And I actually went through a period where I was actually trying to turn my mind off and do this astral travel. I could never actually sort of get to that point where, I mean, apparently we all do it, but we don't know about it, you know.
That's right. It's fascinating. Like I do know somebody who does it. And also I was in an experiment at Sage Paracon where Richard Estep sort of did projection from the US. So they were trying to do something and we had to tune in and, you know, that sort of thing. And it is amazing and fascinating.
Yeah, it does fascinate me, actually.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you a little story about my wife. Before I knew her, my wife's got asthma, right? She has to have her pumped. I mean, she's fine. It's all controlled. And
yeah.
But before it was all controlled many years ago, I think it was about 20 odd years ago, before she knew me, she actually died 3 times on the way to hospital with asthma.
Oh,
and
God.
she actually, apparently she said she saw the light and everything, and she actually was, and apparently she followed this light, and apparently she was given the choice whether to either go on into the light or come back. And she actually made the decision to come back, because she's conscious of that decision, you know,
That's
to come
fascinating.
back. Yeah, it is. It's but she's actually experienced that, and apparently the ambulance drivers who took her to the hospital actually told her she died twice, or I think it was twice on the way to the hospital.
Wow.
And they brought her back, but they actually came into the hospital to see her the next day to see if she was all right. And they actually told her about that. They said, "Oh, we're so pleased that you're okay, because you did actually die twice on the, you know." So,
oh my gosh,
quite a interesting story. But she actually says now she's not afraid of dying, because she knows what's sort of there.
She's seen it,
And it was such a thing about, there's such an all-encompassing love sort of thing, you know, that you feel. But she came back because she had things to finish, I think. Probably to meet me. Whoops.
Yeah, that's it. Well, you know, you got your family out there and all your pets and everything just waiting for you. And
I mean, I'll tell you, there's another funny thing.
So, so people say.
Yeah, she'll tell you another story. If she was here, she'd tell you another story. When she was a very small girl, a little girl, she always was fascinated with the name David, right?
Okay.
And nobody ever knew where she got it from.
Wow.
Now my name's David, you see. So whether there's any connections there, I don't know. But later on, when she did get married to her ex, and she had child, she named her first child David as well. So, but she always had this fascination with David. She used to call her Dolly's David and everything like that. So, as I say, nobody knew where that fascination with the name came from. Even now, she's got this fascination with David. I don't know what it is.
Or it's past life. It could be past life.
It could be something. Yeah, it could be something.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. You just have no idea, do you? It's just fascinating.
But I always say, it's probably came back because to meet me. So that's what it was all about. So.
Yeah. So, is there anywhere that you'd like to go then? Specifically.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to go to Rosslyn Chapel up in Scotland. We went up to it.
Oh my God. I went by it.
I know, we went up to Edinburgh a few years back, you know.
I went near it.
We went to the castle, and I didn't realise that it wasn't that far away. And I really feel like doing a trip now to go up there and see it, you know.
I was so close. I was about 5 miles away and I didn't go because I've got a dog. And it's awkward because you can go around the grounds everywhere, but you can't go in with the dog.
Oh, I see.
And because it was like unseasonable temperature in Scotland, I couldn't leave him in the car. Because it was like about 18 plus degrees. I couldn't leave him in the car for that.
Yeah.
Like when I went to Killeen, I parked up, but I couldn't actually go in the castle because it's just too hot for him.
Yeah. Now, we experienced the same thing when we did a trip to Scotland, actually. We went from Fort William and doing a tour around the castles and things. And we couldn't take it. We took our 2 whippets, not whippets, beagles with us. Sorry, whippets in the previous. We had 2 beagles and we couldn't take them in any of the castles, which was a bit of a pain. We had to stay out on the grounds, you know.
Yeah.
And you don't want to sort of just leave them in the car or anything. So, like you say.
Yeah, that's right. He is fine in the car, and nobody will take him or the car. Put it that way. So he is quite protective of the car. But yeah, any temperature, you can't. So
I mean, they were only sort of like just almost 2 years old then, so they're quite young dogs. But,
my mum and dad's they used to go to a warehouse, and the dog was in the car 5 minutes, and we managed to chew through a seat. So yeah.
Oh right. Oh no, we've been very lucky with that with our two beagles.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing they ever did when they were puppies, they did have an exploding bed. You buy them a bed.
Well, they always do that, don't they?
And you get all the stuff. You come back. They used to sleep in the conservatory, and you'd have an exploded bed. All the bits everywhere. But,
they're good at that.
They all sit there as if they weren't us. It just exploded.
Yeah, no, that's it. The first ever bed usually ends up in bits.
Yeah,
I bought mine a plastic one with a cover, a little beanbag in it. So he started eating the plastic, luckily.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, we've been lucky with that. Apart from they did chew my car once. The plastic runner at the bottom of the car. When they were chasing the ball around and run down the car, and then they're getting excited and chew the bottom of the car. But
oh God, no!
I've had that repaired since. So.
Yeah, they're funny though, aren't they?
Yeah.
So, have you been to Area 51 or where you've been in the US?
I have been to Area, not in it, obviously, but I've been to near the vicinity. I've been to Roswell also.
Also,
the town of Roswell.
Yeah,
we didn't go out to the crash site because you wouldn't see anything.
You can't. That's it. You can only go so far.
If you're driving through New Mexico, much of it's all the same anyway. So
yeah.
I mean, wife, when we were out there, she said, "Oh, let's go and see where the crash site is." I said, "Well, look, if you want to go and see that, it's another 90 odd miles. I think it was 60 or 90 miles of that, and then you got to come back again also. And all you're going to see is just what you're seeing now, basically the same sort of countryside as you're seeing now." And she was already moaning about, all we see is rocks and dirt and dust. So I said, so it's not really worth it. So, but Roswell,
that was
the town
with me. The castle, it's like you've done mileage, and you think because you've got to do the extra back, and
she's not really one for road trips. My wife, I mean, I am. I'm up for. I could just drive all day,
Oh wow,
so, But Roswell, the town, is quite interesting. We went to the Roswell UFO Museum, which was quite interesting.
Have they got anything in there?
You've got interesting paperwork and stuff, I mean, you could probably spend days in there going through all the files and stuff they've got.
Oh, fascinating.
But obviously, we were just there for a couple of hours. They've got an alien display and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, got to have there, really.
You've got to have all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But as I say, we were there for a couple of hours looking around. It's just one of those things that you need months to investigate, Yeah. But just have a quick visit. But the interesting thing I found with Roswell was a couple of bullet holes in shop windows.
Okay.
Because apparently we did hear that's what I have heard from some people that Roswell was one of the most dangerous towns in the States for gunshots and so.
God, no.
Whether that's true or not. I mean, any Americans listen, I'm sorry if it's not true, but that's what I was told.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's just an interesting place. Yeah, I would love to go. I don't know if I'd make the States. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's
a lot of these places, they're so far sort of away from each other.
This is the problem. And because we're in the UK, we're not used to go. Right, in the US, you're used to flying from A to B and then on to C. Now, in the UK, we usually drive, and we can drive because I think, 10 hours max, if that. So, wherever we go, it's not that far in comparison to drive. But in the US, obviously,
it's days.
Like, I want to go to the Queen Mary, but I also want to go to Gettysburg. Well, there's a massive distance between the two.
Yeah, I've been to Gettysburg.
And it's like how to organise it, isn't it? Because we don't know how to do these things. So we're not used to it. Yeah,
I've been to the States loads of times, and I always organise my trips. Like basically, I can tell you how long it's going to take us to get from one place to another, and they're usually pretty close.
That's good.
But I've been to Gettysburg and places like that.
Yeah, cool. What was the atmosphere like?
Yeah, it's. I mean, I'll tell you what, it's a lot bigger than you probably imagine. Because you actually drive around it, and it's not like it's just not like a little Civil War field. It's massive. It's a massive area. There's one place where you got a lookout post and you can look out over the entire area.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I'm not quite sure how big it is, but I would guess it's probably at least it's in miles. The size of it, because you got the little round top and little. I think it's little round top because there's like a hilly bit, isn't there? That's got rocks and all that in it, where there was an attack, which was like a separate event type of thing.
Wow.
Little round top, I think they call it. But yeah, it's a massive place. It's not a place you can walk around. You know,
my gosh, right.
You need to drive around it. It's like most of those Civil War battlefields, like Shiloh I've been to, Appomattox, well, quite a few of them. We did a few of my friends and a couple of friends and I. We did a Civil War tour once. Trying to travel around some of the Civil War sites, and that was good.
Yeah.
But to say they're massive, big places.
Wow. Because I've been to Bosworth, but the thing that the Bosworth battlefield is actually on a different hill from where the visitor centre is.
Yeah.
And
I mean that's tiny compared to
definitely it's hardly anything. And I've been to Culloden as well. So basically you've got two sides basically, and they're not that far apart.
Yeah.
And then they just had the battle, and oh wow, to see the graves and the clansmen, and wow.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to go, and it was weird and eerie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many people were involved in the Bosworth battle and all that.
I'm not
but
sure.
When you're talking about the American Civil War, some of those battles, you're talking about like 100,000 men.
Wow, yeah.
Being involved, like 20,000 dying on each side or whatever, and stuff like that. It's astronomical.
Yeah, it is. Like Culloden was a big one as well. But I can't remember numbers. But and to say that the bodies are still there, and they're just slightly underground as well. It's scary, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Well,
you probably don't know, but I worked in America for a while.
Did you? Oh, wow.
I didn't actually work there. I was sent out there with my company because I was working on the aircraft electronics and mechanics and stuff like that.
Fantastic.
And I worked on the AC-130s, which were the ones that involved in the Gulf Wars.
Oh my gosh, that's cool.
But I used to go to Florida. But imagine being sent to Florida to go and work for.
That's brilliant, yeah.
But that's how I felt the first time I went out there. But
wow, that's fascinating.
It wasn't always pleasure, but I promise you. But the first time I went out,
no, it's interesting to get out and about. I used to work for Rolls-Royce, but I didn't get anywhere other than the Derby office.
Right.
So, but I was looking at the properties. I had to collate a list of all the properties I had around the world, which is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, say the first time I got sent out there was to sort out a little problem, because what they did, they had a repair shop out there, and they were putting together a team to learn basically the job that I was doing in the UK. So I had to go out and teach them a bit of what was doing, or to do a particular repair or something. And the first time I went out there, the place was actually a place called Fort Walton Beach, which was near Herbert Field Air Base, where this AC-130s used to fly in.
Right. Okay.
Now, if you look on the map, you'll see Pensacola, and you'll see a place called Gulf Breeze.
Okay.
Now, back in the 60s or 70s, I can't remember, 60s or 70s, but it was a big UFO event in Gulf Breeze, the Gulf Breeze. And I actually realised, I thought, well, this Gulf Breeze is just up the coast, so I'm going to go and take a drive down there, because the good thing was I was given a car and all that to drive around in, and
brilliant.
Brilliant. All the expenses, was great, but I only wanted to see what the area was like. When you couldn't, all you see basically, you're seeing out at sea, and you're seeing an area where this event occurred. You're not actually going to see the UFO.
Just to go. I
think that's right. You like to see where the area was like,
Yeah, you don't see a battle when you go to a battlefield, do you? But you've seen, and you try and pick up. You try and imagine what it was like and stuff like that.
But I mean, the thing was, I was actually sitting on this little beach all on my own, looking out at Gulf Breeze, and I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm getting paid for this.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it's quite an amazing experience. But I mean, whether you believe in that Gulf Breeze thing, I don't know. I'm a bit on the fence with that Gulf Breeze UFO thing, because I've seen the sort of aircraft that do fly in and out of that from Hulbert, and they've got a lot of laser equipment on it, and I kind of think it might have been. There's too many military aircraft flying about for a UFO. But then again, I don't know. Maybe
you do get a lot of
looking at the
UFO around
military
the
stuff.
military areas, don't you, as well? So
So
from that perspective.
but apparently the person that did see this UFO was actually caught out because they found a model of it in his garage. This UFO that it's supposed to have seen. But he tells the story that he made the model after seeing the UFO. So take that whichever way you like. You either made the model to make the for the UFO, or he made the UFO after the event. So
makes you wonder, doesn't it?
So which way do you take it? I don't know.
Yeah, that's questionable, isn't it? Yeah. So have you got any plans coming up? Any paranormal events or?
I've got to be honest. I'm going to one in a couple of weeks in November. It's called Megalithomania, which is in Wiltshire. Okay. That's not really. I'm not really sure if it's a paranormal event. It's more to do with ancient things like Stonehenge and stuff like that. I guess it must have paranormal stuff linked to it.
It's the spiritual side, isn't it? And it's
like Andrew Collins, who I know because he lives not too far away from me. There's quite a few others that are going to be doing talks there. And Andy's going to take us for a walk around Avery Stones as well afterwards on the Sunday. Yeah. So that's my next event, and that'll be the end for this year.
Oh wow! Yeah,
I've already kind of decided in my own mind that next year I'm going to cut back a bit on going out to do big events, and I'm thinking I might just do one like the Festival of the Unexplained next year.
Yeah.
Because I'm so fed up with booking up these places and you end up in a crap hotel and
it can cost a lot, can't it?
It can cost you a lot of money and end up in you pay a lot of money for a crap hotel,
I'm helping out a lot of 3 events next year. Parameet. There's one in South Midlands and
I know Neil's doing. I think Neil's doing one in Wiltshire, isn't he?
Yeah. It's got some great locations lined up. I can't remember the names of them, obviously, because I'm shocking at remembering things. But so I'm just trying to sort things out there, and I have a dog as well, so I have to book him in somewhere. So it's just
that's more expensive, isn't it? I mean, we're going to America. We're going to America next year. We've got to put the dogs in. That's going to cost us about another £500 for the 2 weeks.
Yeah, it is bad, isn't it? Like one night you're actually paying for 2 days. Where I go, so it's there, isn't it?
Yeah, they don't call it one night; they call it 2 days, don't they?
It's 2 days now. It's about £48 for 2 days.
I think they all do the same thing there. Well, because we've got 2, at least we could put 2 in together.
That's right. Yeah.
So they get a slightly bigger kennel type of thing, I think, with a run and all that. But it's all part of it, isn't it? I mean, if you want to do these things, you've got to put,
that's it.
You've got the extra expense. You've got to expect it.
Well, I'm going to York in April as well. I'm going to investigate the Castle Museum with Paranormal Research York.
All right, yeah.
So I can't wait for that one. So I don't know if Mackenzie will be there, but she works there anyway. So
there's a few of these towns I really want to go to, like York. I've never been to.
You've never been? My God.
No, I think I really need to go there next year.
You need to go there, yeah.
While I'm still young and healthy and all.
Yeah, well, that's it. You've got to make the most of things.
Yeah, there's quite a few of these big towns, like historic towns.
Well,
I've been to so many places in America, and yet here I've not been to any of these big cities, which I should do. So I really should make the effort. Have you been to Whitby? Whitby, I don't think I've been there.
Yeah, well, if you head up to York, make sure
they do good fish and chips there, apparently.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's right. Fetch it from there, don't they? They bring it in and that's it. They eat it. So
yeah. I mean, I've been up to Filey and places like that.
Nearly there, then. Not quite.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's up on
that way.
Well, a good friend of mine, Paul Sinclair, actually lives up there. I don't know if you know Paul. He's written several books, truth proof about UFOs.
All right.
But they see a lot of stuff going on up there. Paul Sinclair.
Yeah. Well, it's like my mum-in-law in Cleethorpes. She sees quite a lot off that coast.
Yeah.
Obviously,
So
that's lower down from there. So
yeah, so it must be a lot going on up that coast.
yeah,
I need to go up
interesting.
there as well then.
Yeah, there you go. That's your list getting bigger.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah.
definitely York. I need to go to.
Oh
And
gosh, yeah,
several other places. But
yeah.
I did say
That's
to my
it.
wife, with it, yeah, we'll do some more trips out, like long weekends or something, or
That's
long weekdays. I think is better. We try to stay at home during the weekends
right. Oh god, yeah, because you get
because it's too
people.
busy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you need, like, if you go to Whitby, don't go like they have a few weekends with events like Goth Weekend, things like that.
Yeah,
Don't.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's better to go mid. The way we're lucky, we could just go midweek or
of
something.
course you
It's
can. Yeah,
usually a bit cheaper then as well, isn't it?
yeah, that's
But,
right. Yeah, but no, it's just some fascinating places with history. Like I do like Brixham as well. I used
Devon,
to,
yeah.
yeah, I used to spend a lot of time at Brixham as a kid, so that was
Oh,
nice.
we went to Cornwall this year for a week,
Oh,
which was
beautiful.
very nice. We were
Yeah,
lucky
loads
with
of
the weather
history.
as well, actually, because I think the week before it was nasty, and the week after I think would turn pretty bad for a couple
Oh
of weeks.
wow.
So we were pretty lucky. We picked the right week.
Well
But,
done, because like, was it before July? Because July started getting a bit ropey, didn't it?
it was the beginning of July if we went.
Ah, yeah, that I think I went the second week of I went from the 8th, I think, of July, and it just
That's
started
right,
getting
and
a
it
bit
was chucking
ropey.
it down, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But we went somewhere I'd always wanted to go to there, Tintagel Castle.
Tintagel. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? It's
Fantastic, yeah.
wow, right on the cliff edge. Did you go down to the beach?
Went all the way around. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah. You
I
got the
went
beach and there's
you really
cave
got to have strong
there.
legs, I tell you that.
Oh my
To
gosh, yeah.
walking up and down there because
Yeah.
I mean
Absolutely
my
stunning.
legs were giving up on me part of it, but
Yeah.
I think I fell over there at one point as well, bashed my
Oh
knee.
my gosh. But yeah, Tintagel, it's just beautiful, and
It's fantastic.
it's
The
just
place
the history.
I'd always wanted to go there. I thought, oh God, we've got to do this. So let's go up to Tintagel for the day.
Yeah.
But the funny thing was to get to it, I don't know where we went, but my sat nav was taking me all through the countryside, all around.
Oh,
Where the hell is it taking us?
yeah.
And it seemed to be taking forever to get there. But when we came out, it was kind of a straight road out. I thought, well, why didn't it take us in that way?
But where?
It seemed to take us all through the countryside. I don't know what happened, but
That July though, because it might have been busy then.
yeah, early July, yeah.
Yeah, so it's starting to build up a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, and the weather was beautiful, I must say. It was
That'd be
beautiful.
it then as well, yeah, because it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, the roads can get quite busy down there.
But at least that was something else I could tick off that I've always wanted to go to.
Definitely, yeah. That's right, because I want to go down to Rougham and Rendlesham. So
Right, yeah, Rougham, the the
yeah, the
aircraft.
airbase,
Yeah,
yeah.
we did a ghost hunt there with the East Anglia Paranormal
Yes,
Investigations group.
yeah,
I don't remember much happening actually on that event, apart
yeah,
from I think my wife had a couple of strange experiences where we were standing in a circle and she was doing this. I don't know what they were doing, but this thing where she was being pushed backwards.
yeah. Awesome, yeah, like a human pendulum.
Yeah, something
They
like
ask
that.
questions, yeah,
Yeah, it was weird, but she
yeah,
didn't think anything would happen. That was happening with her.
yeah,
She's not the sort of the person that would fake it or make out it was happening.
yeah. It's a weird one when it first happens to you. It is
Mm.
strange,
Yeah,
but
she said she
yeah,
felt this pushing on her.
yeah,
Viv Powell, Viv
yeah,
Powell,
Viv,
yeah,
yeah.
because Viv was standing behind her actually. And she's yeah, it's
Oh,
quite
cool.
strange.
That's brilliant. You know, you do get so many occurrences, and absolutely, it is strange, and yeah, and it's kind of why we do what we do, and that's why we're so intrigued by everything, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah,
But
as I
yeah,
say, I think I'm going to cut back next year because it's the expense is getting too much, and
I'm trying to make it out. Yeah,
quite a lot
already.
of these things I sort of go off on my own this week for the weekend, and I think it's kind of not fair that I'm leaving my wife at home. Although she doesn't mind because some of these events are quite long, like
Yeah,
the other one, the Awakening in Manchester,
yeah, I saw that. It looked good.
which was good, but that would be too much for her because it's like a 10 o'clock in the morning until sort of 8 o'clock at night type of thing,
Yeah,
or even 10 o'clock at night. So it's a long 12-hour day talks in and out, and
Yeah.
it's even too much for me at some point. But I don't think I'm
They
going.
are long days. Like the Paranormal was like 2 days.
But I don't think I want to do that next year. I think I'm going to knock that one on the head.
Yeah.
Mind you, I'm saying that now, but I'll change my mind when it comes up.
You don't know, yeah. No, it's like I'm terrible because like I'll just click a button. It's like, oh, sod it. And then
I've got to go. Yeah.
Then you've got to sort out everything else in the background. It's like, oh no.
Yeah, but
everything else.
let's put it like this: I'm going to try and resist doing that next year.
Yeah, that's right. I need to work out my finances really to find out.
It is. It does cost. When you sort of take into consideration, you got your ticket to get in, especially if you buy the VIP type tickets when you do the extra. And I have to do it all. I can't just get like the.
Well, that's right.
I have to get the
most expensive. Paracon, that was 300. Yeah, and then after your hotel and the dog as well,
Yeah, that's it. It really amounts up. You're talking about £1,000 in the end.
Yeah, easy.
It's a lot of money. Nowadays we've got to watch it a little bit, haven't we?
Well, yeah, that's right.
By the time you count your fuel and all that to get up there, and the hotels and the food and everything else.
That's it. It's like touring Scotland. I did 1,400 miles. Well, that's 4 tanks of diesel.
Yeah.
So it's about £200 before you start, isn't it?
Yeah. It's scary stuff when you start. I'll try not to think too much about.
No, you don't. Like diesel is like that. You don't put it onto anything, do you? It's just. You fill up, it goes. That's it. You don't.
It's like the festival they explained. I've already started paying for that. So by the time we get into like June or something next year, I'd have paid for it. So and then you kind of think, oh, well, all I've got to pay now is the hotel and everything. So.
Less painless way of doing it, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's right. But oh god, yeah, you do spend a lot on the hobby, don't you? And it's amazing.
And the thing is, I've got tons of books that I'll never get a chance to read, so I'll spend more time reading books.
I'm as bad because I bought all these books off people. I bought Wayne's books, I bought Penny's books, and
that's right.
Loads of books.
All you get the time to do is sort of dive into. Luckily, a lot of them are not actually storybooks, are they? You can actually dive in, read bits and pieces here and there, and.
That's right, but I have got some I need to read, and it's like, well, I'm trying to finish my own book. I've written it, but I've got a sticking point at the moment. It's something crazy, and it's just how to put it in there, basically.
I mean, while we're talking, you're gonna come on my show when I can.
Oh, cheers, thank you.
I'm actually
I wanted to mention your show before we finish, basically, as well.
All right.
Yeah. So
but I haven't forgotten because I know I did mention it to you. So I just wanted to say to you, I haven't forgotten, but it'll probably be sort of early in the new year, all right?
Yeah, good. You've done 181 shows now, haven't you?
Something like that. I've been shuffling around trying. I've been doing a few extra ones as well, but it'll be early in the new year.
Thank
all right?
you. So I better pull my finger out and write my book.
Yeah, well, we can talk about
it. It's 65,000 words. It's
wow.
I've just got an issue with. I've got a past life issue. So I've got a lot of the story ties in with my past life, but it's just how to present it. Because if you present it as one tale, everyone's just going to think you're nutty. And this is the issue.
Yeah, I don't say everyone will.
No, not everyone.
You're always. I mean, there's quite a few people out there that probably think we're all nuts, but
yeah, I know. But if that like goes out locally, and they'll go, "Oh, that's that loony."
Yeah.
And it's like, well. At the moment, it's all in little chapters. So I've got this and met this and that. And it like people can put it together. But is that the way I want it? And also, there's one, like, whenever I go to the National Justice Museum in Nottingham, I have an issue. I'm going back there in November. I now know his name. I used to work for him in a past life.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. It's fascinating. And it's just how you present it. It's getting cold again. Whenever I talk about him, it gets cold behind me. It's
not the judge that you can sit up in the dock.
It's him, yeah.
And apparently he does materialise sometimes.
It's him. Yeah. He had me hung in 1868. But I can't get the name. I need to find the name of who I was in 1868. I need to go back to my past life to get the information. I bailed out when I was actually in the dock with the judge there. Last time I went to National Justice Museum, I sat in his seat. He'd attached himself to me. There's a good medium who says, "Oh, you've got the judge with you." I thought, "Yeah, I know it," but she didn't even know that I'd got this story. This story going on. I sat in his chair, and I saw me in the dark in those days. So I saw what I looked like through his eyes.
Wow.
I know.
That's fascinating.
I know. And it's like it tied in with what I'd got on the past life. But I need to find out what that guy's name, what that name was. The haunted historian, Mandy West, she's actually looked into the information. She's found out his real name. I knew him as John Black. I found out through transmediumship. It's not Black. It's something like Blackmore or something. I've got the information. And also she managed to get about 6 men who were hung for a similar crime or something. So it's of those. Was I one of those at that time? But it's how to put this in the book, isn't it?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Sounds pretty fascinating. It'd be great talking to you about it.
Yeah,
in more detail. So hopefully you'll better get your head together and sort of.
Yeah, like the story. Like Mandy West looked into the information for me. Then I was on the phone to her, and now we're going through the whole story from the first time. It even starts from the first time we actually psychically spoke to somebody. He actually spoke to a little girl, which turned out was his daughter.
Wow.
And the whole thing is mad. But yeah. And I asked the same questions 2 months ago that I asked about 5 years ago. And it's totally different people there. Human pendulum. And we got the same answers this time as we did then. Even to the question, can you read and write? And the answer was no. Which you think from a judge would be yes.
Yeah, would
then
do.
In those days, if they had the power and the money, then they could.
I think more the money. Yeah.
They could, and if he rang the fighting rings in Nottingham, which I used to work for him in those days, it's just a fascinating story. And I have got a past life regression which is filmed, which I need to put out there, and I need to sort it all out. It's mad, isn't it?
I actually tried a regression once.
Have you?
Yeah, but I actually not quite sure it worked.
Okay.
Because I got to a point where I didn't know if I was making something up or if it was real,
Yeah.
And because I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a meditation. That's kind of how it works. And then you're imagining things. But the thing is, if you get certain facts, like the first one I did, it's like, who is the king? And what happened? Well, the first past life was 1200s. I got killed by Richard I lot coming back from France. So I lived at Nottingham Castle. Well, I lived near Nottingham Castle. But that's part of the judge story as well. There's a link there as well, which is mad. There's too many links to Nottingham, and I'm in Nottingham now, so it is. But the whole story is, So this is a problem with the book. It's kind of like, I've got everything written down, but then there's this massive thing going on as well all the way throughout, and a lot of my encounters actually link in with it. And it's how to present it.
I'm sure you'll sort it out.
Yeah, I think if I get another answer or two, then that'd be the bit there's just something I need first.
Once it starts flowing, I think you'll probably find it'll just flow and it'll come written. Together.
It is written. It is. Just needs editing, but I don't know. It's just something there, and it's holding me back.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. So I think you should just go for it.
It's and time.
Anyway, by the time we do the show, maybe you'll sort yourself out.
I need to sort it out. It was. I think I'd said I'd done it by 2022. I thought I'd done it. Then you try editing it and you read it, rewrite it, put it down for a while, read it from the beginning, rewrite it.
What's the title? Have you given it a title yet?
Yeah, it's called Paranormal Path.
It's Paranormal Path, right? Okay.
So it's about my paranormal
which is the same
journey.
as the show. Which is the same
Yeah,
as the show we're on.
it's all one, and
It kind of makes sense, really, doesn't it? When you think about it.
I thought, because it is, it's about my journey from sort of my first belief system and the way I've changed, sort of like paranormally and spiritually, basically, because I've gone down the spiritual route as well, which comes and goes in a way. It's kind of gone at the moment. I'm not picking up a lot up, but
aren't you?
No, I don't know what's going on, but hey ho. So
it'd be great to talk to you about it anyway.
Yeah, we might actually get the full story. Yeah, I kind of I'm trying to write at the moment, and we just need to publish, and that's it. I did write for a magazine at one stage as well. So the Paranormal Living magazine, which was Alex King, he did that 2 to 3 years ago. So yeah.
Yeah, I think those paranormal magazines are so expensive nowadays, aren't they? When there's so much online that you can read,
Oh gosh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, they're about £6 now. They have to buy one of those magazines, so it's a bit much, I think.
Yeah. Oh, good luck to you, Ward. Ward's trying to do the same thing. If you want to get published, I'm going to go down the Amazon route. So check that out.
Right, yeah, the same, yeah.
Unless you are lucky enough to get a publisher, which for a first-time author is difficult. So, yeah, cheers for that. But yeah, it is fascinating, and see what I can do. But your show, right? It's Paranormal Dimensions
on the Paranormal UK Radio Network.
And how do we get access to that?
That's the Paranormal UK Radio Network.com. You can get access to it. Right. It's on all the major platforms. It's Spotify, and I've recently found out it's on Audible as well. So if you've got an Audible app on your phone or whatever, if you go onto Audible or Spotify, just type in if you look for Paranormal UK Radio Network and then look for Paranormal Dimensions, which is my show. I mean, there are other shows on there, not just mine.
Definitely.
But they tell me mine's the best, but
yeah, no doubt it
is. no, they actually do tell me mine's, but I don't understand why, but they tell me that mine's usually the most popular. So I still don't understand why, but there you go.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I put it out on the chat anyway, so it's gone out onto my YouTube and everywhere just to
thank you.
give everyone information of where it does go out, and it's actually, I think it's turned out a link on there as well. I think you can actually click on the link.
I do another show.
Available.
Do another show as well called Strange Visions, and that goes out on Paranormal Panorama Network, which is linked with the Outer Limits magazine.
Right. So
that's monthly. That's one a month. That is.
Right. Yeah. Because I've just seen you advertising that one recently. Yeah.
That's right. We covered the Festival of the Unexplained with the lovely Rachel. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah.
But my main one is the Paranormal UK Radio Network one, Paranormal Dimensions.
Yeah, that's it. And you've done at least 181 shows.
Yeah, I think it's 100. Yeah, something like that now.
I saw that, and because you just had Neil Packer on as guest.
I did. Yeah, I mean, I did pack up. But just over a year ago now, I thought I took it as far as I could take it, and then I sort of started missing it, and and things weren't very good on this planet. I think everyone was getting depressed and everything, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. And then people started saying, "Oh, you should be doing it again." And I thought, "Oh, all right, let's come back again." And I started doing them again. So
yeah, no, it's awesome. But thanks so much for talking to me. It's been really.
No, it's been great coming on. Thanks for inviting me, Jacqueline. It's as I say,
thanks
you'll get my invite soon.
Oh, cheers! Thanks for that, and thanks for all the information on Rendlesham as well, because that talk you gave was fantastic.
Well, yeah. I mean, really, I like that book. It's the best book to get for any further information. The one that Wayne's reading.
Yeah, I need to. You'll have to message it me afterwards because I'm sure.
Yeah. I'll send you a link for it.
Yeah, nice one. I'll get that, and it'll join my other books. now I used to read all the time, okay, but now I wear glasses. and it's dark at night, it's harder, isn't it? I
You
find
want
it hard.
to get little lights put on there.
I think this is the issue because the light in my bedroom is quite dull, so I can't read at night anymore.
You probably need a nice little reading lamp over your bed or something.
Yeah, that's what I need to do so I can start reading again.
Little clip-on lamp.
Read and fall asleep at a good time rather than mess around on Facebook all night and be tired.
Yeah, I often do that. Reading, I'll nod off.
Yeah, that way, you relaxed and you sleep, whereas you get on Facebook and that's it. Oh, God. Oh, thanks a lot, Andy. Cheers.
Yeah, there's some nice comments coming up. Thank you very much for everyone. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your comments, and look after yourself, and good luck with your book as well, Ward. But yeah, take care, everyone, and be careful. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.